Hey everyone, this is, I guess, the last video just concerning my trip out to Mersey Ships. I'm now back in the UK, just in time for the second lockdown, so that will be interesting, that'll be fun. But yeah, just wanted to give you an update video, first of all to let you know that I'm back, and just to give a bit more of a general overview of my time out there. So I guess firstly, just to run through what I did, community life, maybe the surprises. Um, I'll go through that way. I think that's probably easiest for you. So my time on the ship was 10 weeks. I started off, I was due to work in the housekeeping department, but the needs changed, and so I moved and worked for the dining room team to basically serve the crew. That changed, that progressed quickly, where I started off just washing dishes, then I was serving kind of the whole dining room. It was limited initially just because of the restrictions with the COVID regulations in place. But then very quickly, as the team turnover, the staff turnover was quite frequent, I became a team lead in a short space of time and had to help manage the measurements to put in place in regards to COVID-19, all those restrictions. So as a team lead in a new kind of environment, um, not having been there for too long myself, it was kind of thrown into the deep end. But also, what was quite interesting was, I guess, learning leadership qualities in that sense, where no one really knows what's going on, but you're just kind of making it work, and so you have to really build good morale. And let the team know to kind of trust you because you have their best interest at heart as well. So that was really growing for me practically in terms of leadership qualities. Um, and also, I think it was quite insightful in terms of understanding a bit more about, I guess, how management and decision and kind of the higher up leadership, how they operate when talking generally about kind of NGOs or, I guess, humanitarian organizations as a whole, kind of how policies need to be adhered to, and you've got to do the best by as many people as you can. Not everyone will be happy by the decisions that are made. So that was, again, insightful. With that, I think that kind of funnels into what community life was like. So as a whole, the guys on the ship in Mersey Ships, for most of them, by the time I got there, they had been in lockdown for close to, well, around 200 days, probably much more now when I left. Some of them hadn't touched land for probably about a good 150 of those days. Thankfully, by the time I got there, there was access to the dock where you could go for walks. And then even later on, there was access to, we managed to get access to the island of Tenerife. So some people had the paperwork that was necessary to allow them to go onto the island, get their kind of food shopping done, get a bit of respite, so to speak. Now, throughout that time, I think people cope, as it is in the UK, as with anywhere else in the world, when a country is in lockdown, people cope with that in different ways. Whether you're introvert or extrovert, you cope with it differently. And so that was interesting, just trying to build relationships with people who maybe weren't at 100%, didn't have the energy to socialize all the time, and some on the complete opposite side actually just lived off it. Because they were in lockdown, people were their best friend. They kind of relished at the idea of meeting someone new, and it was for some it was easy to make friends, for others it was much harder. It was interesting with Mersey Ship specifically because their focus predominantly, well, the Africa Mersey, the ship that I was on, is focused with a lot of work in Africa, and so you have a lot of African cultural influence there on the ship, and it's interesting seeing the dynamics at play when you have a strong kind of Western culture and African culture together, seeing how sometimes it works very well, and the beauty of that, and seeing almost this kind of kingdom emphasis. You almost look at it and imagine potentially that's what some of heaven might look like, seeing all these different tribes and tongues kind of under one roof. And then on the other side, there were, as you can imagine, different cultures locked together on a floating metal box with no access to land for a long time. There were some tensions raised, never kind of overflowed into any disputes or anything like that, but you could see that people weren't always happy or comfortable in the situation they were in. So it was interesting being kind of really involved in that, and learning a very exposed way of how to build relationships well. So I'm really thankful for that, seeing the reality of the situation. And and I think one thing that actually I'd say surprised me specifically about Mercy Ships, for me, from what I see, maybe the content online, and some of you may know that they're releasing a second ship next year. As a whole, Mercy Ships at its front looks like a very well-organized humanitarian organization. And so I wasn't too sure myself personally how much of a Christian emphasis there would be. Now, those are just my preconceived notions before coming onto the ship. But I was pleasantly surprised that actually, when on the ship, there were some individuals definitely who are faithful servants to the Lord. And when I say that, I mean there's frequent and consistent Bible studies, big groups meeting, going through the Bible. I joined that group, and that was kind of almost every day. And then on the Wednesday, they would have a prayer evening instead of a Bible study, and on the Friday they'd sing songs of worship. But every day, kind of going through methodically, chronologically, going through verses. We were going through John's Gospel, and that was really insightful and really good to see the hunger of the people to pursue the Word, pursue Scripture, and to be formed by it, even in a missional setting where, I've seen some people who are almost so thrown into a Christian setting, they almost become complacent with their faith journey. So it was good to see the hunger still alive there. And so, I was pleasantly surprised, and really commend kind of Mercy Ships for having that space on the ship. I pray and encourage Mercy Ships as a whole to keep pushing those faithful points where they can. Times where, I don't know, it would be cool for maybe Christians to see Mercy Ships in their content, in their digital content, as overtly Christian. I don't know how possible that is. That's just a thought that comes to mind from me. But all that being said and done, I'm actually looking at going back for a more long-term commitment there, possibly early next year. Or who knows what will happen with COVID. But things could be promising there. I've had a few conversations internally, had interviews already, and it's looking like potentially I could be making a 2-year commitment to serve Mercy Ships over from kind of May time next year. So I'll be praying into that. What I would say, I guess for me personally, as I kind of sign off this initial trip, is with the difficulties of organizing dates, and for some of you who know that I was planning and due to be in France at the end of November, that's been delayed a bit, and so there has been a bit of impact on the finances there. I will be requiring a bit more financial support from any donors. And just sticking in line with the emphasis I just put on that kind of this missional calling, that I would love for, if anyone can consider to donate, please do so prayerfully, because I've really come to the point where I don't want to just go out and do work because it looks good on a humanitarian level. The reason I'm at a place in my life where I'm looking to commit to long-term overseas mission is to do kingdom work, where I can see myself partnering with Jesus in revealing the gospel truth to those who either they know it, or they can grasp more of that truth, or for those who don't know it at all yet. So that's really my passion, and so I don't say that lightly. If you're maybe if you're someone who wants to give money, and maybe has never been prayerful in donating for these kind of things, I would encourage you just to send that prayerfully, because I believe like God all the money in the world is His anyway. So if He wants me to go anywhere, He'll provide. But it would be a great opportunity for you to partner with me in this prayerfully as well as financially, because I believe there's a greater kingdom work to be done, not just the sake of providing some short-term relief, which obviously is necessary and good, but in terms of this as a stepping stone to what I'm committing my life to, I really want it to be purposeful and driven from the get-go. So I appreciate your support. If you have any questions, do reach out to me. I can be maybe more specific about anything about my time on board. I'd love to hear from you. So do get in touch, and I look forward to hearing from you all soon. Thanks. Bye.